Hello, this is Peter Crawford-Valentino. I'm new to doing this live on YouTube. But what I wanted to do tonight is really get down into talking about what is going on in our country. Because a lot of people don't know, don't seem to know, or don't do anything about it. And it's getting down to the point where things are very serious in our country. Lots of things are out of control, things are rampant, lots of things are just getting stupid and stupider every day. And we have to look and see who is doing this, okay? And I've talked a lot about the UN, the Agenda 21 book, and what they want to do with that. And tonight I wanted to talk about who is really behind the UN, because the UN is not the top dog. But if we sniff around the UN and we look at it closely, as I have looked at it very closely, I've come to understand a lot of things about its construction, and I've come to see it as the daughter of the UN. The UN is a daughter of the Vatican, and it's something where they created the UN, and it's something where you can trace it, and I've gone back and looked at the history of it. The UN picked up right after the Second World War, and we know, and we've talked about this, that there were the Vatican rat lines that brought the Nazis out of Germany, and also the Ustashis, soldiers who were actually Jesuits themselves, largely. And these are the worst kinds of people in the world. And when I say it's a Catholic New World Order, I don't want to offend actual Catholics if you are a real heartfelt Catholic. But what I want to let you know is that the Vatican is out of control, and the Vatican has fallen back into another kind of religion. The Vatican is no longer really Catholic, and once they made themselves into a nation, they're not even a religion anymore. If you look at the iconography of the Vatican, just starting with the obelisk. Obelisks are used for solar god worship. It shows that there's a solar aspect to their worship. You have a sundial there around the obelisk. And at the floor of the obelisk is an 8-pointed cross. Very similar, if you look at it in construction, to the cross for the Knights of Malta. And then also, if you go up on top of the obelisk, you find a sun. Okay, that's pretty obvious right there. You could try to call it a star or something like that, but that wouldn't make any sense. It is a sun, and they are into solar worship, and they are Luciferian. So now, you Catholics who are real Catholics, and I know there are a lot of you out there, and I'm depending on you, because the Vatican has gone hog wild. Now, you may think that it's liberalism. Oh, he's being liberal. That's not really true at all. It's a different religion. You should see that what he's espousing now, things that break down the family, things that break down all the Catholic values that you guys know, and he's bringing in all this. He's protecting pedophilia, and there are a number of things he's doing. I don't want to do any gay bashing, but they're also having gay orgies, cocaine infested at the Vatican itself. And these are things that are just part of history. It's part of reality. And if you are Catholic, this is part of what you're accepting. If you stay with that group, and I'm actually going to talk to you about a schism. I believe that there will be a schism in Catholicism. People will distance themselves from the evil of the Vatican, and really you have to. I'm demanding it. I'm asking for it in a way that cannot be refused. We have to see that if we want to keep our world together, we have to remove the Vatican. And that's why I'm saying to actual real Catholics, do not be part of the Vatican nation. You need to do a schism, become American Catholics. Bishops in this country, I'm talking to you, you will have to pull away from Rome, because We can all see now, we can really start to see that it's the Jesuits who have taken over the Vatican. We have a Jesuit Pope, and that's a first. And now we start to see what the actual Jesuit religion is. And we see the growth of horrible things in our culture, the incredible growth of pedophilia. And that has also infested the UN. The UN, the daughter of the Vatican. So of course it's also infested with pedophilia. And when I mean pedophilia, I don't mean just some priest wants to diddle with a little boy. I mean the kind of pedophilia that is just so heinously evil. And again, back to Catholics, you have to look into this. You have to know what evil happens at the Vatican. A new building that they built there, I don't know exactly when it was built, but I call it the Serpent Building. It's the Pope's audience auditorium. And when you look at the iconography of that, first of all, there's nothing Christian about it. There's not a single cross that you're going to see in any kind of obvious way. What you see is a serpent's face looking at you. And behind that, their primary altar is this explosion, which is supposed to be a nuclear holocaust of planet Earth. And then we have Christ supposedly rising like a phoenix from the ashes. And we have to see that when I first looked at it, I thought that's the most satanic thing I've ever seen in my life. All the serpent iconography and the eyes, and it really is. It's kind of crazy, guys. So if you look at that, and if you just look up on Google Images, serpent auditorium or serpent at the Vatican, it'll come up, lots of pictures of that. And when you see the Pope and all these people gathered, his minions gathered around him with that altar behind them, you can see that these people actually are evil on a level that's hard to imagine. Because what they're saying with that is, we're going to blow up the earth, but we'll survive. That's the basis of that structure, okay? And it's really pitiable. The Pope Francis, I do pity him because I don't feel that he's going to survive very long. I feel that he will be killed by his own people. This kind of nonsense about bringing up ISIS, the phony invented ISIS that is a product of CIA and Mossad and other Western intelligence. That ISIS threatening the Pope, or we're going to kill the Pope, that's like the Pope threatening himself. It's just ridiculous. And it actually presages his eventual being, assassinated. Now, why would I say that? I'm not in favor of anybody's death, but I am in favor of the end of the Vatican, because actually we've had enough of it. We have a Jesuit in charge here, and another one coming right behind him, potentially. The Jesuit in charge here in California is Jerry Brown. And since this Jesuit has been in charge of our state, we've had a major drought. We've lost so much of our market share, our business, agriculture. It really was a horrible thing. And then we have these fires, these wildfires. That's still an unsolved crime, as I said earlier today on a Facebook feed. It has to be solved. And we know that the New World Order is behind that. And we can talk about the New World Order all day long, but until we get to the reality of the fact that this is a Vatican New World Order, then we're just blind. But you have to see this one thing. You have to understand that you have been so trained over centuries not to see the Vatican. We have to remember that the Vatican's 600-year Inquisition has affected us all, especially Europeans, on a cellular level. Other countries were not involved in that. It didn't touch Russia, for instance, because they had their own church, which the Vatican got rid of in the Russian Revolution. We have to see that this Vatican is out of control. We have to see that the UN is out of control. They want to take us over, and they will stop at nothing. So we have to turn, and we have to fight, and we cannot just be friendly. And it may seem, okay, it's politically incorrect, Peter, to say that. That's so mean to the Catholics and everything. I have friends, I have relatives who are Catholics. So I'm not against them. I've met some wonderful priests, and I know it's not everybody. But if you are in America and you are a Catholic, and we see that we've got this Catholic New World Order, if you look at my other material, Papa Mundi and the 9/11 Mechanism, my first film on the subject, it details how the Vatican took over our nation on 9/11. And that is a Vatican move through the Knights of Malta. And they were all there, and it's really obvious. And this is something we can no longer ignore. We can't hide from it. We have to say, okay, you're burning us out. You burned Santa Rosa, you burnt LA. And the Jesuit in charge just lets it happen and goes, oh, it's climate change, oh, climate change. Burning cars, melting cars. Climate change can melt cars. You really think that we're stupid, but we're not stupid. Believe me, I'm not stupid. I see this. I've seen it for a really long time. These people were behind the murder of our president, Kennedy. And I warn the Jesuits, and I warn the Vatican now, if you even think of killing our President Trump, we will retaliate in like kind. We are not going to take it anymore. Okay, that's the end. If the Vatican is a nation and we have been attacked by a nation, and we can see this really clearly and truly, then we will wake up, America will wake up, the sleeping giant, and we will come and remove that energy. We will take it out. Catholics around the world are also rioting when the Pope comes. Why is that? Because they know that something phony is going on. And this is the time when they've decided, okay, we're just going to go for this big push. They know they need that for their survival. They know they need to create war. They want to create a World War III. They want to severely diminish the population of the world. These people are crazy. These people are psychopaths. They are completely out of their minds. And it's going to take an awakening, a big awakening. And it's going to happen here in California. In this election, we have Gavin Newsom, another Jesuit. Gavin, are you going to have the fires again? Because that will remove you, okay? Because we will notice. I'm warning the people who think they can take California. You cannot take my state. You cannot take California. You cannot take America, okay? And we have people who are protecting us now. We're going to band together as Americans, liberal and conservative. Don't dare think this is something about liberal and conservative within the U.S. Or even within the Vatican. That's nonsensical. This idea of creating a communist world government has been a favorite of the Vatican. The New World Order is a coined term by the Vatican. A pope in the 20th century used that, called for a New World Order. Other people who are super aligned with the Vatican, the Bushes, the Rockefellers, Kissinger, always talking about a New World Order. That's what they want. They want control. And if you read the book, the Agenda 21 book, it'll talk about all these nations that are supposed to do all these things. But what about the Vatican? Is the Vatican, there's a nation, are they going to do all these things too? We can start to see that they are centric to the problem. And they are actually eccentric to normative morality. We can see that with all the pedophilia that's occurring, that's just part and parcel of their religion. That's because they are Luciferian. You could call them satanic, Luciferian. It's probably more correct to call them Luciferian. But these people have pedophilia as part of their religion, part of how they are. And that's not the whole Catholic Church. And as I talk about this schism, that's going to be something you're going to want to look at. You're going to want to be vetting your priests and make sure that they're good with that. But the kind of pedophilia we're talking about is torture of children. Just incredibly horrible things that the popes have taken, they've taken part in that. A number of people are guilty of that at the Vatican. That's creating a kind of morality. You're asking us now, Vatican, to accept a kind of morality that we just cannot accept. We cannot accept child trafficking. We cannot accept that you turn our children into prostitutes. We cannot accept that you burn our state. We cannot accept the GMOs that come from you. We cannot accept Monsanto and the vaccinations, the mandatory vaccinations. We opt out of all of this, okay? You will not get California. We will fight back, and we will take back our state from you. Now, voters in California, if you are thinking of voting for Gavin Newsom, if you think of yourself as a liberal or you think of him as a liberal, just check his credentials. Right now is not the time to vote for another Jesuit. We've had problems with the Jesuits. The New World Order has come to roost here in California. All the illegality, the sanctuary state, the sanctuary cities, this is all just to create confusion. What these people want to do with us is through creating confusion, they will come in and create order. They come in and create the New World Order. And so you see things confused, you see people rioting in the streets, and lots of things going on, lots of strife and struggle. That is because they are purposely creating division within us. They are creating strife, confusion, and then they want to come in and just say, we will then stop that. We will create order where confusion existed. People of America, I ask you to back me up in this. It may seem strange at first, and I appreciate that. If it seems strange to you, you have not looked into my work. Look into anything by Peter Valentino on 9/11, GMOs, vaccinations, depopulation. I've talked about all of this. This stuff is real, folks. It's not a joke. It's something that we have to take very seriously. They have started a war with us. We are at war, and we will act accordingly, and we will retaliate to those who war against us. I ask everybody, look into my work, find out, educate yourself. And in terms of the schism, that will happen. It is unavoidable. You must distance yourself from the Pope. You must distance yourself from the Vatican. The Vatican will be diminished. The papacy will be dissolved. These things are part of history. This is the time in history where the people wake up and we no longer take it. We're just not going to take it, okay? You can't kill our leaders. You can't kill our microbiologists. You can't kill our health professionals. All the Vatican assassins, I tell you, you cannot kill me. For if you did, 1 million will rise where I stand. You cannot kill our president, for we will retaliate. And I reiterate that because we feel that he's in danger from you. We will win this war. We are America. We will go with our Constitution. We will get back to our Constitution. I really appreciate you listening. I hope you will comment. I'm going to do this again next week. I hope you start to understand what I'm talking about. It may offend many, but then think about it. Investigate, okay? If you're offended by me, just go ahead and look at everything I've said. You can find it easily, investigate it, it's online. I thank you for joining me today, and I hope you will come to a greater understanding of what it means to be an American. We don't get conquered here in America. We stand and we fight, and we will fight for what is right, for a moral world, and we completely repudiate every stance of the Vatican in terms of creating a world government or a new world order. We will not have it, and we reject the whole idea. Thank you very much. I'm Peter Crawford-Valentino. I'm running for governor of California in 2018. I hope you'll take me seriously and vote for me. Thank you.